There is now a bipartisan effort in Congress to undo something awesome that the Biden administration has accomplished. Now, we've been very critical of the Biden administration for a number of reasons, but when he does something good, when his administration does something good, he gets credit. And last week, there was an announcement from the Transportation Department in regard to airline companies and how they must provide automatic refunds to American travelers if flights are severely delayed or if they're canceled. Finally, there's a little bit of justice for travelers who tend to get screwed over by some of these airlines. But 4 of the 6 biggest recipients of campaign money from the airline industry have now moved to thwart the Biden administration from implementing these new rules. To be specific, you would also get refunds if they lose your bag as you are traveling and flying, which happens to many people. So let's talk about the members of Congress who now want to dismantle this. That includes Senator Maria Cantwell, a Democrat from Washington, Senator Ted Cruz, a Republican from Texas, Representative Sam Graves, a Republican from Missouri, and Representative Rick Larsen, Democrat from Washington. So this truly is a bipartisan effort, and it really does show you how money in politics is a virus that infects both political parties. Now, Senator Cantwell, according to reporting from The Lever, chair of the Senate Commerce Committee, and Senator Cruz, ranking member of the Senate Commerce Committee, are among the top recipients of airline industry campaign donations for the 2024 election cycle. Cantwell has so far received $143,721 from individuals in the airline industry, and Cruz has received $59,375. Both senators are running for re-election this year. And a similar dynamic is playing out in the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Representative Graves, chair of the committee, has received $131,999 from the airline industry this election cycle, just this election cycle. And ranking member of the committee, and Representative Larsen, ranking member of the committee, received $88,255. So here's how the lawmakers want to dismantle something great that the Biden administration has done. In February, the Senate Commerce Committee passed an FAA reauthorization bill. Now, just yesterday, days after the Biden administration had announced the automatic refund rule, it was announced that the bill would be brought to the Senate floor for a vote. Included in the final bill, which must still pass both chambers of Congress, is a line that creates a right to a refund for airline passengers with a non-refundable ticket, but requires refunds only upon written or electronic request of the passenger, an explicit rejection of the Biden administration's rule. Now, this is a big deal, guys, because guess what? We already have that right. But it is difficult, it is confusing, it takes a long time to get your refund after you apply to receive it. And so what the Transportation Department under Biden was trying to do is make that process far easier so you, the traveler, don't just give up and you get your rightful refund.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
Look, when Biden administration does something good, I'm very happy to give them credit for it. We are a rare show that doesn't just go, okay, Biden all good, Trump all bad, or vice versa, right? So it kind of depends on what you do, which should be what is a normal news organization, right? Telling you what actually happened. So credit to Biden, but now let's be honest and real about it. So what's gonna happen next? And I'm not going to determine that, Joe Biden's gonna determine that, okay? Because what I'm worried about is, since the corruption is bipartisan and there's 2 corrupt Democrats that are also trying to get rid of this rule, my guess, and that's based on the history of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, my entire life, having covered the news for about 30 years straight now, Biden will drop it because he won't want to call out Democratic senators. You have to protect your colleagues. Well then, 1 corrupt Democrat and 1 corrupt Republican can end any good progress because, well, Mitch McConnell will say, oh, don't call out the Republicans, and Biden will say, don't call out the Democrats. And besides which, there isn't one corrupt Democrat and Republican. There's about 98 in the Senate, right? So that's why you probably won't get this. If he had actually delivered it. And by the way, so why I say it's not me, I'm just reporting the news. If Biden says, no, I don't give a goddamn what Maria Cantwell says. I said they'd automatically get the refund. They're automatically getting the refund. Then I'll come back and tell you, boy, that was amazing. Nice job, Joe Biden.
I actually have a question. I don't have the answer to this, and I looked into it and I couldn't figure it out. So I'm curious if you know, Cenk. And if anyone in the audience knows, please inform me on it. But so if the executive branch issues a new rule pertaining to the airline companies and how they must issue refunds, would legislation that's passed in Congress supersede that federal rule?
See, this is why I wonder if any of this was ever real, right? Because the minute you get into that dispute, you're going to court, which means it's going to get delayed for years and years, okay? So it's possible that Biden proposed this to get the credit, full well knowing that the Democrats in Congress were going to oppose it. And then even if he says, well, I'm going to insist, oh, well, golly gee, we got a congressional and executive branch orders conflicting. What are we going to do? I guess we're going to have to spend a couple of years adjudicating in court. And if Trump wins, he'll just throw it out anyway, and the airlines will get whatever they want. So look, I want to give them credit, but they never earn it.
Yeah, look, I don't blame you for being cynical. One of the other issues was, the ability for Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Initially, the proposal was for Medicare to be able to negotiate all drug prices in the legislation that Democrats had proposed. That was whittled down to only 10 pharmaceutical drugs for the short term, and then, many, many years from now, they can expand that list. But then it turns out that the 10 drugs included in the initial list of medications that can be negotiated, a lot of them are gonna have their patents run out, and there will be cheaper generic options soon. So those are the kinds of instances that, I apologize for people who think this is wrong, but it makes one cynical of what the genuine intentions are. So it's important to know that background. But I want to go back to a little more of the airline industry and the lobbying that they've engaged in, because the airline industry is now using the FAA reauthorization bill, which, to be clear, has not passed yet, as the excuse for refusing to issue the automatic refunds that the Transportation Department has basically told them they need to do. The ticket refund provision in the FAA bill requiring customers to request a refund confirms that it is the Congress's intent to not require automatic refunds, wrote a spokesperson for the International Air Transport Association, an industry trade group representing more than 300 airlines, in a statement to The Lever on Tuesday. As a deregulated industry, airlines should be able to set their own refund policies free from unnecessary government interference. But I would also say that the main role of the government is to protect its citizens, not just in regard to national security with bad actors abroad, but also in the case of business interests, violating the rights of consumers, deceiving consumers, or in this case, refusing to issue automatic refunds that I think should be issued, especially if they severely delay flights, lose luggage, and even cancel flights.
Yeah, so I think there's a picture perfect story of Washington because it shows you exactly how things work. Because people want automatic refunds, and so let me explain this from a business context. So the reason why the airlines care a lot about this rule, they say, well, we already give a lot of refunds. My God, we give billions of dollars in refunds. That's true. But if you make it easier, it will be, well, 100% of people who get refunds. If you make it a little hard, it'll be 80%. If you make it really hard, it'll be 60%. And they all know that, it's in their spreadsheets. I know things like that because I run a company. I know what spreadsheets look like. I know what the percentages are going to be depending on X or Y, right? So the minute they pass that law saying that it's not automatic, they're going to get to keep billions of dollars that, let's be honest, they stole from American customers. They said, oh, we're going to put you on this flight, you paid for it, and then they didn't put you on the flight. And then they make you jump through extra hoops. And why are you so frustrated on the phone? They do that on purpose
So you give up. Yes.
Because if you give up, then that percentage drops to 40%, and they save billions of dollars more, right? So that's how this game is played from a business perspective.
Listen, I'll admit it. This has happened to me, and I gave up. It was an impossible freaking standard. It was impossible to do. There's an endless back and forth. It is intentionally made difficult, so you give up. And in the future, when you're offered the possibility of a refund if you go through that process, or a voucher for a future flight, you're just like, oh, just give me the voucher. Just give me the voucher. And that keeps the money within their company, and they're good.
Yep, so that way they don't lose any money. Okay, so look, that's why the original Biden rule was so terrific, and we were really happy to give him credit for it, right? So now it get to the second part of the story. So Mo Brooks had this incredible speech that he gave when he was running for Senate in Alabama. He's a very right-wing Republican, but he was astoundingly honest. He said every chair of these committees basically gets bribed. They have to raise about $1 million. The only people that they can raise $1 million from, and he said this is, you can't get it from average Jane and Joe back home, so you get it from the industry that you're regulating. And then the deal is, don't regulate them.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Lauren Windsor at The Undercurrent did a brilliant job of recording that. I wrote a lot about it in my book, Justice is Coming. And so here's not only Ted Cruz, okay, he's a villain on the Democratic side, and he absolutely is.
Republican side.
No, I mean like Democrats find him to be a villain, right? And you guys are right, 100% villain, right? Works for the donors completely, fake populist, every way you can imagine. But if you say to anyone in DC, Maria Cantwell is also a villain. She's a crook who took money from the industry and protected them and screwed over the average American. I don't know a single reporter or Democrat or consultant or anyone in Washington who wouldn't be outraged by that statement.
So in fact, since you mentioned Cantwell, here's another excerpt from this excellent Lever piece. They write that in January, the US Department of Transportation actually sent a letter to Cantwell and the other 3 lawmakers requesting that the final FAA deal include a provision to require automatic refunds for canceled and significantly delayed flights, among other policies. The lawmakers appear to reject that request because obviously it is not included in the FAA's reauthorization legislation. And by the way, look, money talks, or as my dad would like to say, the cash is talking, okay? All right, because the airline industry will shell out the cash, and it's a lot of money. So overall, the airline industry spent more than $33 million lobbying in 2023, an all-time high according to data that was compiled by Open Secrets. A wonderful resource if you're ever curious who is and is not corrupting your elected lawmakers.
Yeah, last thoughts on that. Number one, $33 million, every mainstream media reporter will tell you, has not affected Maria Cantwell, Ted Cruz, or any of them at all. Well, Ted Cruz maybe, he's evil, right? But wait a minute, Maria Cantwell and Ted Cruz are doing the same exact thing here. They both got bribed, took campaign contributions from the industry. They both protected the industry, and they both screwed over the American consumers to the tune of billions of dollars. But Ted Cruz is evil, Maria Cantwell's a saint. No, she's a total and utter crook who takes, and to be fair to her, 98% of Washington is. They all take money and they all serve these donors. And if you're the airlines, $33 million sounds like a lot of money for lobbying, right? Remember, they're saving billions. The return on investment is fantastic. The best thing you could buy in America is an American politician. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.